thanks for taking the job. I honestly thought no one would take it knowing the history of this restaurant chain, but we're trying to look towards the future and not the past. So let's get you started. I used to be the night guard before I transferred over to the day shift, so I know what it's like in there. To your left and right, there's panels on the wall with controls for your office's doors and lights. You've also been given a touchscreen tablet through which you can view the building's numerous security cameras. You'll notice some of our animatronic mascots if you have cameras 1 or 3. There's one more, but it's not easy to spot like the rest. I think it's somewhere in camera 10. Interesting story about the mascots, actually. We originally intended to reuse the models from the 90s, but they were just too smelly and glitchy. We didn't want to reopen the place smelling like rotten flesh. So, the robots in the building with you are actually the models from the 80s. We had them retrieved from the junkyard they were sent off to and restored them to proper working order. We were able to find all of the mascots except the old balloon vendor, but I'm gonna be honest, I never really liked that one anyway. Now, you may notice during your shift that the robots sometimes wander around a bit. That's because we can't really turn them off. I mean, we can turn them off, but with machinery that old, it can take a while for all the robots to boot back up in the morning. It's just easier to keep them on all the time. Now, these old systems have a known bug where they may confuse you with a costumeless metal endoskeleton. The tech support thinks it's a glitch in the boss's night mode. If they manage to get into your office, they'll likely try to stuff you into a Freddy Fazbear suit. Now, that might not sound that bad until you realize you'll be crushed to death by all the animatronic devices in the suit clamping down in their body. There's one more thing I should probably warn you about. Remember the other mascot I mentioned earlier? The one I think's in camera 10? Well, that one behaves differently from the other ones. You see, back in the 80s, that one, the puppet, was controlled by a music box. If its tune stopped playing, it would leave the box in search of a new source of sound. Well, the music part of the music box doesn't work anymore. The mechanism is too rusty. We just keep the box for aesthetic purposes. That means he'll be wandering around freely like the rest of the robots. I know that sounds bad, but one of our night guards from the past often complained about how tedious winding up its music box could get, so be grateful that you don't have to do that. If it happens to wander inside your office, close the door on the side that it came in from and keep the opposite door open until it leaves. It's something to do with its spatial awareness program bugging out when the area it entered from becomes sealed off. It was a measure taken to prevent it from getting stuck in its music box permanently back in the day, so be sure to keep track of which direction it approaches the office from if it happens to wander over to you. Now, that might sound like a lot of stuff to worry about, but it's not as complicated as it sounds. I'm sure you'll do just fine. Good luck.